Hello and welcome to my weekly video blog, and today on A.Vogel Talks Menopause I'm going to look at 6 ways to eat better. Now if you like my tips and advice, then please subscribe and remember to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of all new videos. So over the last few weeks I've looked at good and great foods for the menopause and also bad foods for the menopause. But did you know the way in which you eat your food can have an impact as well? Eating the wrong way can affect your digestion, and it can contribute to symptoms such as indigestion, bloating, wind, and cramping. So having good eating habits can help your digestion, but also help you to get the best from your food. And we need plenty of good nutrition from our food at this time going through the menopause. So number 1 is have smaller meals, eat little and often. This is good for several reasons. If you have a huge gap between meals, this is going to affect your blood sugar levels, and that can contribute to things like flushes, palpitations, headache, and brain fog. And also, if you have 2 big meals, this can really stress your digestion. The whole digestive process takes a lot of energy, and we all know if we have a really big meal, usually about an hour or 2 afterwards, we get this kind of energy slump. And if you have that every day, you're really going to struggle with things like fatigue, which seems very common, especially around about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. Second one is eat slowly. This is so important. If you chew your food really quickly, large lumps of food end up in the stomach. Your stomach has to use an awful lot of energy to break them down. And this again can cause indigestion, it can cause the bloating, and it can make you feel as if food is sitting in the stomach for a long time. The rule of thumb here is try to chew each mouthful 20 times. And you'll often find that eating really slowly will help you to eat less. Number 3 is never eat on the run. If you are active, the body just can't digest food. So if you're running between appointments, if you're really busy and you're just grabbing something and eating it and chewing it very quickly, you're going to end up with things like indigestion. The food isn't going to get broken down properly, and you're going to miss out on all the really good nutrition that you've eaten with that particular meal. It's important to sit down properly. You know, I can always remember as a child my parents saying to me, sit up at the table with your elbows back, and you know, you'd always think, oh, I don't want to do that. But it's really sensible. Your stomach needs lots of room in order to move properly, because the stomach grinds your food up. So if you're sitting all hunched up, if you're sitting at your desk, or if you're sitting watching the TV, then your stomach can't work properly. That will affect your digestion, and eventually that will affect your absorption too. Number 5, drink less with your meals. If you drink too much whilst you're eating, you dilute your digestive juices. And one of the things we know that can happen during the menopause is that you can end up producing less stomach acid to start with. So if you then dilute that further, you can end up getting gastric reflux, you can end up getting indigestion, and you can end up getting pain. Sometimes you find that you might end up getting a shooting pain up the left side. And this is all to do with the fact that you're not having enough digestive juices in order to break your food down properly. And if the food's not broken down properly in the stomach, that will have an impact right the way through the whole digestive tract. If you must drink whilst you're eating, then just have a small glass of plain water. It doesn't matter if it's warm or hot, preferably not cold, because that will shut your digestion off. Wait an hour and then have a proper drink. That's absolutely fine. Or if you want to drink before a meal, then at least half an hour before you sit down. don't eat a big meal. So this is number 6. Don't eat a big meal late in the evening. Remember, I've talked about how a big meal will really stress your digestive tract. If you have a meal a few hours before you go to bed, the energy that's needed to digest everything is going to keep you awake. So your evening meal really should be quite a light meal. And a lot of women find that if they have their main meal at lunchtime, then they can have a lighter meal in the evening, and that can have a really beneficial effect on how you go to sleep and also your sleeping pattern right through the night. Other tips: take bitters. If you are finding that you're getting a lot of indigestion, a little bit of acid reflux, we have a lovely remedy called Centurium. Bitters are great, and you will find in a lot of Mediterranean countries that the first starter of the meal is a plate full of salad bitters. It's a fabulous idea. So it's things like endive and rocket, and even things like fennel leaves as well. They're really lovely because these bitters start to implement the digestive process, so they can really help. If you don't fancy a little salad before every meal, then you could certainly look at the Centurium. Never get too hungry, because again, if you leave big gaps between meals, you're causing problems for your blood sugar levels. But the hungrier we are, the less good judgment we make on the foods that we eat. And when you're really hungry, very often you grab the first thing, which is not often the most healthy. If any of you have found really good tips to help with your digestion, to help with your diet, foods that you found have been really helpful, then please share them. We would love to hear from you. And until then, I will see you next week on another edition of A.Vogel Talks Menopause.